Hi, welcome. In this video, I once again want to focus in on balanced dog training by way of being dialed into the relationship and a dog's state of mind. Now, in this video here, this video really illustrates the confusion, okay, as it relates to balanced dog training by way of a process. And so here again, another video put up by Miracle Canine. I know I've done several videos by way of Miracle Canine, including again I've been on a debate with the trainer here, David, which again I mentioned is very gracious to have me come on and have that discussion. And so here I plan on this perhaps be my last video here to kind of end kind of hovering on Miracle Canine here, but I couldn't help myself. Okay, in fact, this popped up, and so I'm going to use this because it really is a really great example as to what I'm talking about. Because here you're going to see David, showing a what would be considered to be a force-free individual with their dog, and engaging with, maintaining a dog's focus through using a motivating agent to elicit, to generate focus on the person. Again, talk about these themes of bribery, accommodation, negotiation, especially, okay, once a relationship problem is underway, which is going to be clearly apparent here based again on the information put forward by this dog owner regarding the dog's, bite history. Okay, and so I'm going to play some of this video, but again, pay attention to the statements from this balanced dog trainer. Okay, this really illustrates my point regarding how balanced dog trainers have bought into this lie that training is a learning-based exercise, okay, once a relationship problem is already underway. Okay, so I'm going to play some of this video, respond to it as I go through. So this person here, again, force-free, talking about, having very reactive towards other people, bite history, right? So now again, talk about this whole thing about the theme of, engaging in bribery, okay? A total lack of understanding as to, again, a dog's state of mind. I talk about where you get to a place when you're experiencing a relationship problem where a look just isn't a look. Okay, it leads to, an expressed state, whereas controls being expressed, and this is where again, this dog doesn't have a healthy way of thinking. Okay, this is the whole relationship part of it. So again, talk about the stinking thinking part. Okay, and this is where, what this individual is doing here is just trying to find a way, right? Trying to, maintain or keep this dog's focus away from these individuals who are, walking near her home area here because she anticipates a problem. All right, so I'm gonna play something, keep playing this. Now she's using something, so right there, even the moments of just tossing down treats, now she's holding on to another treat. This dog is going to be more focused on it because this dog is going to engage at a higher level with licking on this thing. So right here it says, doesn't like being approached from strangers, especially from behind. It does have a bite history. Okay. See, this whole thing of trying to, and this, understand this is popular in the dog training world. This whole thing about, trying to establish something. So, but here's the issue here. I talk about this whole thing about, even some of the narratives coming in the balanced dog training, rewarding bad behavior to create good behavior. Okay, and like I use the example of, of a child mouthing off at a parent, being totally disrespectful, the selfish child, mental relationship problem. The parent just out of nowhere pulling a chocolate bar out, and just kind of holding it out to the side, and immediately the child's focus goes on to the wanting the chocolate bar, right? And then thinking that is represents a good moment in the sense that change is happening. I mean, really think about it. That's what's going on in the dog training world. Understand this whole thing about a complete lack of connecting dots or insight into how dots connect to the relationship in terms of, an expressed state based on the current state of the relationship. Okay, this thing about bribery. So these moments here happen. This dog is overly wanting this treat, right? This person here, and the majority of trainers out there, including balanced dog trainers, think that this is something to work off of. Like this is a way to overcome a relationship problem with a dog that's gained control in the relationship. She's not fully muzzle trained yet, or she would normally, in case we count any people, but she's in her home environment. See, that's the thing about muzzle too, is understand, and you're going to hear this trainer talk too about, well, why doesn't this dog have a muzzle on? Okay, it's not so much about understand the muzzle's about management, but the thing that's you're going to see totally absent here through this trainer is the change part through the role of influence. Like actually intercepting this dog's state of mind as this dog's expressing control. Like that's the change part that's absent through balanced dog training. It's this lack of clarity as to, engaging, the relationship that way, a dog's state of mind that way. Understand, balanced dog trainers are not dialed in that way, period. And saying these two men approaching, continuously rewarding with high value treat for staying calm and checking in. Staying calm, that's the thing. Well, the calmness part is totally deceptive because it's not about calmness, it's about bribery. Okay, understand that this isn't about a better relationship. This is about being led into believing things that aren't true in certain moments by way of shifting focus. Right, but the thing, again, the trainers don't connect, including balanced dog trainers, is the current state of the relationship itself. Just like I said, once a child has become selfish, it changes everything. But these themes, right, these bribery, accommodation, negotiation, these themes play into this ideology, and so people believe certain things that aren't true. And, and this is where you'll see it even here, bite history, obviously major problems here, and this person's still totally committed to this. But then the dog training world promotes it. So you can be left, people are left holding the bag with dealing with a relationship problem for like forever and never resolve it. Okay, because their emotions, right? If you're a very emotional person, what are you going to want to use? Treats, body harnesses, retractable leashes. You're going to be petting all over the dog all the time. Those are the things that are part of it. You are how you think. So what should be happening here, right? This dog should be, I'd say, probably intentional control. Here, this is some crazy looking long line, okay? I mean, look how long it is. I mean, if the people get close, she wouldn't have any, this dog was fast enough, she would be able to control this dog. But this dog should be on a shorter leash so that there's control, intentional control coming through the leash. And then this dog should be turned slightly at an angle so that you can nudge and intercept this dog's stinking thinking. But you're not going to hear this balanced dog trainer actually offering that up. Okay, understand that, in fact, he's going to give kudos to this whole thing about desensitization. I'm going to hear this language.
She's not friendly.
I have a question.
No, don't come close. She's not friendly.
Okay, so obviously there's a lot of text over that. I'll read the text as we go here. So she's sitting here on her porch, right? And she's got her dog on a long line. She's doing some reward training. She called it popcorn training, which is basically this idea that it's like watching a movie, right? You sit there and you're eating popcorn while watching the movie to keep the dog distracted from what it is they're seeing, right? So on the long line, sitting on a porch here, she says, while popcorn training with Bijou on our front porch, two men were walking, tried to approach us. Continuing on. She saw them coming and switched from low-value food, kibble, to high-value food, Buddy Butters.
Buddy Butters.
It's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Saying fine, nothing wrong with it.
Continuing on here.
Like that's the problem here. There shouldn't be any sort of motivator or treats present. Period. Okay, it should be all about advocating through intentional control and influence to intercept this dog's state of mind.
She does not like to be approached from strangers, especially from behind, and does have a bite history. Okay. Nobody's really approaching her from behind. You're sitting on a stoop, staring out towards the world right now. Then she says, she is not fully muzzle trained yet, or she normally would wear a muzzle in case we encountered any people, but she is in her home environment. They're on their porch, right? And then we'll wait till the last section, and then I'll give you my... These two men start to interrupt our training and ask me questions, and I'm continuously rewarding Bijou for her high value treat for staying calm and checking in. This is where I have to step in and advocate for space for my dog. They are less than 10 feet from us, which is over her threshold. Any interaction is the possibility for a reaction, and I'm not willing to risk it.
Okay.
We both manage to stay calm and make it through the interaction. So that's it. Okay. Here's why I sent this one to myself. This highlights some more really serious problems in the dog world, right? I understand advocating for your dog. I understand if somebody's doing something really intrusive to your dog that would warrant some sort of reaction from them. We want to make sure those things don't happen. People bombarding your dog, rushing all the way over to them, coming out of nowhere and trying to pet them, letting dogs pull up over to them, stuff like that. From this video, none of those things were happening. And here's the issue, right? I'm all for desensitization. If you want to train your dog that way, hell yeah.
See, right there. There's one of the major problems in the dog training world. Talk about a serious problem. Serious problem is the lie that balanced dog trainers have bought into that that training's a learning-based exercise. Once a relationship problem's underway. See, there's the dot that's not connected to balanced dog training, not being dialed into the relationship that way. I talk about, an expressed state. So we hear balanced dog trainers talk about behavior. They use it within the framework of superficial response. Okay, no depth. And so here it's that buy-in, right, to this ideology. If you want to, right, use treats to create a different association, right? But there's no critical thinking to say, well, why you go to a trainer in the first place? Because you're dealing with a relationship problem. And this whole thing about, actually looking at the dog's fixation levels, right? Leading up to the dog expressing aggression even, where many, like balanced dog trainers, they don't see the role of influence that way to offer that type of clarity to say it needs to actually intercept those fixation levels just as a dog's looking, considering the fact that the relationship itself is currently sideways. Okay, and that's why I talk about how everything becomes a supply source to a dog once a relationship problem is already happening. And so here, this whole buy-in, and see, this is the problem. This is why balanced dog trainers they get challenged. This is why they're trying to justify and reconcile the role of influence by way of, say, remote collars and certain devices, and they're challenged regarding that at all levels. Because they have bought into this idea that training's a learning-based exercise.
Totally for it, right? But she's progressing through. She says this dog has a bite history when it's approached and reacts. She said she doesn't have a muzzle on the dog yet because she hasn't finished muzzle training the dog. So she is more concerned with not having her dog develop a negative association with the muzzle than she is about the general public's safety.
See, and so this whole management thing is still a big theme of balanced training. It's like the trainer here is like, well, dog should have a muzzle on. I'm like, big deal. I mean, that could be a protocol, but what about the change part of this? Okay, the role of influence itself with intercepting this dog's state of mind in those moments. See, that's totally gone here. That's not even part of the conversation. But the muzzle's control too. So for a dog that's holding control in a relationship, guess what they're going to try to tear off is that muzzle. So yes, you want a dog to be agreeable to the muzzle, but it's about the state of mind of the dog expressing. This is not, the balanced dog training isn't dialed in that way at all.
At that point, which gets to our conversation we had, I think, 2 podcasts ago,
Yeah.
where we were talking about muzzle training, and we were talking about the muzzle is an inevitable tool that with some dogs, you have to just get it on and start using it for the safety of everybody involved, right? Because she doesn't have a muzzle on this dog, and the people aren't doing anything that intrusive. You could hear them in the background saying, excuse me, but she's saying they were like closer than 10 feet to her. I could see 10 feet around her in that video. They were further than that. And they were just literally, all you hear them say is, excuse me, right? They were about to ask her a question. And her default response is just, she's not friendly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, straight up.
like, I struggle with this one a little bit because there's definitely situations I've told people, get the fuck away from my dog, that are being assholes towards my dog.
Yeah.
But this is, where do you draw the line of like, you know, like, I'm not even looking at your dog right now.
So here you got a trainer again, you know, trying to bring kind of judgment down on this person, but the real judgment, okay, is the same judgment I put at the feet of balanced dog trainers as to, okay, what's the process? You know, I talk about the dogs, you know, what's the role of influence? Like, that's the problem here. I mean, understand that this is like trying to make a big deal out of what exactly? You know, because it's about the change part of this. So, because you can be locked in, just like she is locked into managing a problem situation until something bad happens. You know, engaged in those things I talk about, bribery, accommodation, negotiation, with trying to generate focus through those themes. It's how people get blindsided. I mean, you already have enough information here through bite history of this dog to know that she's currently dealing with an ongoing relationship problem. But she's bought into this lie. Just like balanced dog trainers have bought into it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? She's not friendly. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, what do you want me to do then? Like, I'm trying to ask you a question right now, and your default, she's not friendly. No, she's not friendly. Don't get any closer. She'll bite, right? Like, I'm not even close to your dog. What do you mean? What am I doing?
You're right.
Like,
You're right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like, it's like, because you're more concerned about your dog than the safety of, well, okay, let me rephrase. Okay, she's concerned about the safety of the other people, which is why she's going, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. But it sounds like she's a lot more concerned with her dog not going over threshold and having a bad experience than she is truly caring about the person's safety. Because if she cared about the person's safety and more about the dog, in that moment, if she really thought there was a risk, that long line, she would have grabbed much shorter to ensure if the dog did lunge, it couldn't get all the way to the dog. She absolutely didn't do that. I guarantee you there was more than 10 feet of slack in that leash, where if that dog did try to lunge at that person, it would have bit them, but it might have caused a bad experience to the dog. It's like putting a muzzle on them. So I couldn't do that. I'm just going to make it this guy's fucking.
See, so just on about this muzzle. Like I said, big deal about the muzzle, because the muzzle is just about management. It should be about change. Okay, so that's the point. That's the takeaway here. Again, you can watch the rest of this here, but you're just going on about, you know, the muzzle, the muzzle, the muzzle. I'm about change, change, change. Okay, understand that that's the solution. But very interesting how balanced dog trainers they bought into this thing about desensitization, these themes of bribery, that they're not dialed into the relationship and the dog's state of mind that way at all. This really comes out through When you watch the videos of balanced dog trainers, the head will be dog's head spinning around, the dog's fixating, and they're not engaged at all. They don't even care about it, because it's superficial. It's response, it's about the sit or the down. You see it all the time. No depth at all. So understand that the dog training world is a mess for a reason, okay? I'd encourage you to really think about, what represents a process. Pay attention to what, again, this is the reason why balanced dog trainers sound just like force-free trainers. They're trying to suggest or pretend that they're different. They're really not. I mean, the only difference is they want to be able to correct the dog at times, but they're in a reactive posture, not dialed in that way at all. And so, everything, again, I talk about 2 core ingredients: influence and control, how they come into a intentional interaction-based process, where they align properly, okay, proactive in the way that, again, just like this, dog owner there, she should be nudging, starting to intercept that dog's state of mind, period. But you don't even hear the balanced dog trainer here talk about any of that. It's just about the muzzle, and then playing into, well, no problem with desensitization. It's a joke. Thanks for watching.